or the power vested in me by the District of Columbia, I now pronounce you husband and wife.
I just sat down and started to watch the documentary, and there were just so many things that I started to identify with, and I felt like I was the right fit for. I was approached by the producers, and I was shown the documentary that Nancy Bursky made, and that was really all it took, you know. In fact, they sent me a trailer for the documentary first, and I showed it to my wife, and she just wrote back, "If you don't make this film, I'll divorce you."
We went to Virginia before we started shooting to sort of do a recce, and we sort of drove around the locations.
It was a really good idea, I think, that we all got a sense of the place, and the places where we were shooting were places that the couple had been and lived and walked, but there was something infectious about watching Ruth stand in the graveyard of Richard, where Richard and Mildred are buried, and seeing how much she cared and how important this was to her, and it sort of permeated the whole, all the troops.
I was very nervous, you know. She had the script, and I went to her house to talk to her about. She's much like her father. She's very quiet. She kind of plays it close to the vest. And she was flipping through the pages, and at some point she just started to cry. And she said, "You know, they're just all gone." And I realized, you know, these are not characters on a page. These are people. And it just kind of solidified this approach of, okay, we have to do this correctly.
I want to put the kitchen right back here.
Richard, stop this. I don't know what you're saying.
I bought it. This whole acre.
We had auditions with Francine Maisler, our amazing casting director, and Ruth was the first person she brought in. When Ruth performed the scenes and left, we just kind of turned to each other and looked at our watches like, are we done? The whole time we knew she was really the only one for the part. And then working with Joel on Midnight Special, it became very, very clear that he was perfect for it.
I'm just super proud of being in this film, and I want people to know about Mildred and Richard. I hope that their names become like household names. We met Peggy, didn't we?
Yes.
Peggy.
She's the only living child, actually, from the Lovings.
When I first met her on set, I became really, really hyper aware that she was there, and I knew that she was arriving on set, but I didn't realize how nervous I would get, and that she was behind the monitor watching me, and because there was a real sense of striving for authenticity of location in the way that we looked and were dressed, and I went into the tent to meet her, and she called me daddy and gave me a hug. And that was like good and weird and wonderful all at the same time.
Is there anything you'd like me to say to the Supreme Court Justices of the United States?
Yeah. Tell the judge I love my wife.
I feel like they're unknown soldiers, and I think this film, people will celebrate them, and I think that's very important.
But obviously, as we've seen over the last few years, you know, all of the racial tensions and everything else that's happening in society, it makes pretty much every aspect of the film far more relevant than I actually hoped it would be.